Ms. Ellison, you admit to cheating on your boyfriend with the defendant and now claim he is your daughter Olivia's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you say he's done nothing for your baby and you are here with your mother to demand he step up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jenkins, you believe Miss Ellison is making paternity claims because she's trying to rope you back into her life.
Yes, Your Honor.
You state you have sufficient reason to believe she's lying when she says that you are Olivia's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Jenkins, I'll start with you. How do you know you're not the father of Miss Ellison's child?
First of all, Your Honor, Miss Ellison had many partners, many sex partners. Wow. When I first met Miss Ellison 2 months into our relationship, she made it known that she still was in a relationship with her boyfriend. I mean, I done seen Miss Ellison with many guys in and out their cars. I mean, just with many guys. And I asked, I'm like, you must be having sex with somebody. Her jaw gonna drop. Like, how you know? And that's when she started explaining everything to me, like, what had been going on, her dealing with other guys and her still being
Your Honor, that is a lie.
That ain't no lie.
That is a lie.
That is not no lie.
So wait, Mr. Jenkins, it's your contention she admitted to you she was with other guys?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he knew I had another boyfriend. That wasn't a secret. Everybody knew.
So now, how did you end up with him if you had a boyfriend?
He made me promises that he couldn't keep, and he said he would show me a better life, and he would do this and do that and treat me like a nice boyfriend, and he didn't keep his promises.
But you had a boyfriend.
Things wasn't going right at home.
Okay, so you were entertaining Mr. Jenkins because you were having issues in your relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
So you slept with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
No protection.
Yes, ma'am.
But also still sleeping with your boyfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you say, Mr. Jenkins, there were other guys too.
Multiple guys, Your Honor.
Your Honor, that is a lie.
Multiple, many.
And how do you know there were multiple?
I seen them. I seen her had dealing with many guys.
When
yes.
you saw them where? Explain.
I see her getting in and out of car with different dudes. I mean.
Your Honor, that is a lie. He kept his eye on me 24/7. I couldn't go nowhere.
That's a lie.
I couldn't talk on the phone to anybody.
No lie,
that is a lie.
So you ain't have multiple partners?
There's a lie.
You ain't have multiple partners?
No.
You ain't have multiple partners?
No.
Stop lying, Ashley. Miss Ellison?
Mr. Jenkins, at this time, did you think you two were in a relationship? You were boyfriend and girlfriend?
No, ma'am, no, Your Honor. First of all, what I told Miss Ellison, she explained that she was in a relationship that she wasn't comfortable with and she was gonna break it off. What I explained to Miss Ellison that, okay, well, you know, I can show you how to drive, I can show you how to get your license, I can show you how to do better for yourself.
And that he did not do.
Whoa, I never said I wanted to be in a relationship with you. When I first met Miss Ellison, we came up with a plan to achieve, to make things, not to be together in no relationship. Now, she ended up pregnant. I told Miss Ellison, I said, well, okay, well, since you don't know, she brought it to my attention where it could be a possibility of another guy. I said, well, I don't want no more kids.
So you did not think you were in a relationship. You didn't even want a relationship with her. So, Ms. Ellison, but you said he was making promises.
Yes.
And you thought he would deliver, but he didn't.
Yes.
But you were sleeping with both men at the same time.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so did you tell both Mr. Jenkins and your boyfriend that you were pregnant when you found out?
The same exact day, yes,
You did?
Your Honor, yes.
So you were honest with both men?
Yes.
And
he did not allow me to talk to him and inform him on anything. No doctor's appointments, no nothing. I couldn't talk to him.
What you need to talk to him for?
But you said you wasn't in a relationship.
But he should have been helping you. Man, don't act like you wasn't talking to that man. You was talking to that man.
I didn't have no contact with my boyfriend when I was dealing with Mr. Jenkins.
Come on.
Oh, so you saying when you were sleeping with Mr. Jenkins, you didn't have any contact with your boyfriend?
After I found out that I was pregnant, he cut everything off.
Oh, after you found out you were pregnant?
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so while you were pregnant, who went with you to doctor's appointments?
I did.
My mama. He took me to about 3 doctor's appointments, and that was it.
3 doctor's appointments?
And he didn't want to go.
And
3
that
doctor's
was hard for
appointments.
him to do. We had to
And
basically
so
beg
the
him.
ex-boyfriend that you contend could potentially be the father of the child as well, you didn't invite him?
No, Your Honor.
So when you had the baby, who was at the hospital?
My mama.
But you gonna let me know the baby born 3 hours later.
You knew the night that we went to the hospital. You knew a week.
For 3 days in a row.
Your Honor,
so let y'all tell it.
Your Honor, he knew a week before I was finna get induced.
Man, come on, man. You did not tell me that.
The hospital.
No, you did.
He knew. I texted him from Facebook and told him that I was getting
Text me from
induced.
Facebook. How you know I check Facebook like that?
He messaged me back and said, all right.
So hold
If you
on.
can tell me from Facebook, you can call my telephone.
Does anybody have any evidence?
Yes.
Man, I got evidence right here, Your Honor. Evidence right here. It could be somebody else, baby, but you taking me to child support court. Child support for a baby that could be somebody else, baby. Come on, man.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. What is that evidence you're holding?
I got a court document right here, Your
Ron, will
Honor,
you pass
where
that
it
to
says
me,
I'm
please?
supposed to go to court for a baby that could be somebody else for child support.
This is a court order to appear for a child support hearing.
For a baby that could be somebody else's.
And Miss Ellison, I have to ask you, if you admit that you also slept with your ex during the time, has your ex been tested?
No, Your Honor.
You're not sure who your child's father is, and yet you placed Mr. Jenkins on child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
You just met me. Why you ain't put him?
Are you certain he's the child's father?
I didn't have sex with my ex-boyfriend until a week after my ovulation week.
Man, that baby still could be anybody's baby.
But ultimately, you're not certain who your child's father is, or you wouldn't be here.
Correct.
So when you are not responsible sexually, these situations happen. That's exactly why this courtroom exists. Ms. Ellison, when you have to give a name of potential fathers to the court, did you give both men's names or only Mr. Jenkins?
I couldn't put both names down. I could only put one.
So why you ain't
You
put the
got to
first person you were
sometimes
with?
write another line in. You know when you're filling out something, there's not enough room? Because this is very serious. Because you understand this man has been ordered to appear in court so that he likely will be held responsible for child support.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wages could be garnished if he doesn't pay.
Yes.
And the truth is, paternity has never been established.
No, Your Honor.
There's a lot riding on these results, I'll tell you that. So, now that Olivia's here,
Yes.
has he been involved?
No.
Helped at all?
No. Not
I
at
haven't
all.
did anything, Ashley.
Yeah, you bought this outfit.
Hold on.
This what you bought. This what you brought to the baby shower. You bought this.
I ain't tell you no doctor appointment. I ain't
You
buy
took
that
her to
child.
3?
Hold on. I said, Miss Ellison, you ain't had no baby. Ain't nobody talking to you.
But I've been here.
hold on, Mr.
But I've been here. But I've been here.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Let's be respectful to women in our courtroom.
When she moved to my house, they were in a relationship. He did not want her talking to the other person.
Okay, so she
And at
cut
the
him
same
off.
time, I was trying to tell her, you know, they both could potentially be the father. You need to keep him involved. And because she loved him so much, she respected him and did what he wanted her to do instead of doing what the right thing was to do. So he was always at my house. When I get up, go to work, he's sitting outside my house at 4 o'clock in the morning. Why my daughter, pregnant, got to get up and come downstairs and sit in the car and talk to you?
Man, I ain't tell your daughter to do that. She
So-
did that because she wanted to do that.
Listen, Mr. Jenkins, it sounds to me like at some point this did turn into a relationship.
Man.
It was
was.
a relationship.
For a year and 3 months.
A
Even
year and
after
3
my
months.
baby was born, we were still together.
Man, we were cool.
We were still together, Your Honor.
So
Okay, but
you
what happened?
basically left your boyfriend
Yes.
because you wanted to be with Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, did you put him on child support now? And I just have to say this. Kind of to bring him back, to rope him in, to make him have to be connected to the child because you really wanted to be with him?
Honestly, Your Honor, no.
Yeah.
And what's your relationship like with your ex?
We just speak about my baby, that's it.
So you do talk about the baby?
With him,
With your
yes.
ex now?
Yes.
Has your ex developed a relationship with the baby?
Yes.
What's the matter? What do you feel?
Just tell us.
I just want to know who her daddy is. That's all. That's all.
So now that your ex is back in the picture, has he developed a relationship with your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
He has.
He's not all the way in the picture, Your Honor. We've been asking since this child was born for both of them to step up and at least get a DNA test to see who she is. Nobody would step up and be responsible. I've been here taking care of this baby, myself and my husband.
Man, stop lying, man.
Oh,
You
wait,
ain't did
Mr.
that by
Jenkins.
yourself.
Mr.
Don't
Jenkins,
think it, man.
Mr. Jenkins, let them testify as to what their side of the story is. So, Ms. Parham, you say your husband and yourself.
Yes, my husband made my daughter a promise. He told her when that baby was born that she would not lack for anything, no matter who the daddy was. And we've held that up, and we will continue to hold it up, whether he is the father or the other guy. We will continue to do what we said we was gonna do because he made that promise.
But ultimately, let's, be honest here. Ms. Ellison, no woman wants to stand in a courtroom, have a beautiful, beautiful, precious little baby girl, and every day you look at her, you don't know who her father is. You don't know who to tell her to call daddy. Does she look like one man or the other? We know looks can be deceiving. However, it's a natural instinct in all of us to see if we can just see any similarities. Do you see similarities to either of the two men?
More of Nathaniel, yes.
More of Mr. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins, when you look at this beautiful baby, do you see similarities? You don't see any.
No. I mean, but...
Your Honor, he
hey,
claimed Olivia on and off throughout my pregnancy, and even after she was born.
I did not
you say
claim
he
that child. I did
claimed
not say my
in-
baby. I was having no baby.
He would
none of
say-
that.
What way?
This is my baby, I got a baby on the way. And
Man, that
when
baby
he
look
get
like home,
mad,
man. Be real with
he
it. Put
don't,
that picture
he
up,
don't
though.
claim her, and it's just on and off.
Who said that?
You feel like he's doing the same thing to Olivia that he did to you. Well, he's acting like he's accepting Olivia as his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Buying an outfit, telling people he's got a baby on the way.
He
and
was
then-
even kissing her, holding her,
Who?
all of that.
Man, stop lying. Young.
He would say, my baby
Mr.
this and my
Jenkins,
baby that.
Why would she lie about you holding and kissing the
Because she
baby?
trying to make it look like something that went. I mean, I'm not that much of a dirty person that I'd be like, man, I ain't gonna do nothing, just push her all the way to the curb. I mean, we were cool. We were actually cool. I mean, it could be mine, but I don't think it's mine. I don't feel like the baby mine. Really. I mean, if the DNA test says the baby mine, then I'm gonna treat the baby just like I treat my other son. Okay, but right now I just feel like, I mean, she put herself in that predicament.
So, before you have sex, you can say you don't want any kids, and after you have sex, you can say you don't want any kids, but if during sex you fail to use protection, you very well may have a kid. Now, you know you're not a dumb man. You know that.
Of course I know.
All right. So, only way to find out whether or not you do have another child in this world is to get the results. Jerome, I'm ready for that. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Ellison versus Jenkins, when it comes to 7-month-old Olivia Jenkins, Mr. Jenkins, you are her father. So, Mr. Jenkins, you said you wanted to know, and now you know. Miss Ellison, are your tears of relief because you finally know? Are you crying because Mr. Jenkins is your child's father?
I'm just hurt, Your Honor. I'm just hurt, Your Honor.
You feel hurt. And you're hurt for?
Because he missed out on so much, and she ain't nothing but 7 months. He missed out on a lot.
And now it's time for you to step up to the plate, Mr. Jenkins. Are we clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Herrod, you have summoned the defendants to court today to prove that their deceased son, Justin, fathered your 3-year-old daughter, Star, during a torrid love affair. You are hoping today's results seal your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Walther, you say it's been a year since your son passed away, but only 3 months ago, the plaintiff appeared and claimed Justin fathered her daughter, Star. While you stand in court denying your son could be her father, you admit you hope she is his daughter, as she would be your only biological grandchild. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Herrod, you're here today to prove paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you truly believe their son is the biological father of your daughter, Star?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you feel about this?
It's been a very hard stressor on me because I know who my other girls' dads are, and it beats me up every day.
It does. And I see how emotional you are right now. So you opened today's case for Star.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you want answers and resolution for her. All right. Ms. Walther,
Yes, Your Honor.
please tell me about the first time you met Ms. Herrod.
Well, my son had mentioned that he may have a child and that they was going to do a DNA, but then he said that she moved away and he went his own way, and they never did find out anything else about it. But I met Star and Jessica about 3 months ago, I guess.
And Star's 3 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you tell me about the nature of your relationship with the deceased Ms. Herrod?
I was living next to a couple of his family members, and I'm really good friends with them. They introduced me to him, and we just kind of connected as friends. And I was in a very bad relationship at that time. He was there as a support group, and it just went further from there.
So you were still dating the other man when you started the sexual relationship with Justin?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so how often would you see Justin?
We would hang out daily.
For how long? How many months?
It was about, before I moved, we were there for about 3 months.
About 3 months? And so you would hang out daily?
Yes.
When you say hang out, does that mean you also were having sex with Justin that often as well?
Mainly through the weekdays was these sexual encounters. The weekends when my boyfriend would be off work, we would just play basketball, go swimming, hang outside.
So, Miss Walther, did your son tell you anything about this relationship?
He had mentioned her name a couple times.
And when he mentioned her name, did he say, Mom, I'm dating someone new, or I have a girlfriend?
He just said that he was dating a girl, but it's complicated right now, so he was leaving it at that.
Okay, so he did say, I'm dating her, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
So, Miss Herrod, when did you find out you were pregnant?
I come down feeling sick. There was a bad flu going around at that point in time, so I thought I just had the flu. I went to the hospital. They did tests. The test come back that I was perfectly fine, so they did a blood sample, and it come back that I was pregnant.
So you thought you had the flu,
Yes.
but really you were pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so once you found out you were pregnant, what did you do? Who did you tell?
At that point in time, I told the dude that I had just broke up with.
So did you ever tell Justin?
Not at first I did it. I was about halfway through the pregnancy before I mentioned it to him because he was in a relationship. I didn't want to come in the middle of it. So I just kind of kept it a secret. And then once he texted me one day, we started talking and I told him, hey, I've got this daughter. There's a possibility she's yours. And he accepted it.
He accepted that?
Yes.
So at 6 months, when you're 6 months pregnant, you said, I'm gonna have a little girl and she's possibly yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Walther, did your son ever tell you anything about the pregnancy? What did he tell you?
He just mentioned that he may have a child, but he didn't say for sure, who or when. He just said that, Mom, I might be a daddy.
And what did you respond? How did
I
you
asked
respond?
him, I said, oh, really? I said, when and how? I mean, because I was so excited because this was my only chance to be a biological grandma. And then he passed away and I never got to.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I really am. And I can see how badly this hurts you.
Because he never really said, for sure who it was at first. I mean, he had mentioned Jessica to me a couple times about him being in a relationship. He said, but it's kind of complicated. And then he had mentioned that there may be a baby. He's pretty sure that he's going to be a daddy. But then, like I said, he passed away and we never got to find out.
So, Miss Herrod, did Justin ever have a chance to meet Star before his passing?
Yeah, he met her when she was about between the ages of 1 and 2. It was about 2 years ago.
He did?
Yes.
And what happened at that meeting? Can you tell the court?
He told me he felt in his heart that she was his child.
And at that moment when he said that, did that further your doubt or your confusion, or did you feel in that moment like Star is Justin's child?
At that point in time, I did feel that she was his father. That opened up some doors for me, saying maybe I should go ahead and proceed and find out if he is the father or not, for Star, for him, for the family, and get that closure.
So that made you feel further convicted that I have to get some answers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Walther, can you tell me about the first time you met Star?
The first time I met Star, we went over for a cookout. And I sat down beside her and she let me hold her and everything. And it just like I could feel my son. But I didn't know if it was just me wanting to be a grandma. But she's so adorable and she won my heart that night. And we had a cookout and we played, talked, and I gave her some candy and different stuff. And she's a doll. She's a little doll.
And we've seen many times in this courtroom, and Jerome can attest to this, that grandmothers often have the instinct. They know.
Mm-hmm.
When you held Star, did you feel like in that moment, I know?
Yeah, it's like I felt something in my heart, and then certain ways, actions that she did, she looked like Justin. I mean, it was like I was seeing my little Justin all over again.
You could think about him when he was a child.
Yes.
And you felt like her mannerisms or the way she looked. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got his actions and everything, and something tells me down deep that she's gonna be my grandbaby.
You submitted pictures to the court. Pictures of Star when she was a baby and Justin as a baby. And when you look at those pictures, you see a resemblance?
Yeah, I do.
There
You can see it.
is a striking similar appearance between Star and Justin. Wow. I see a lot of side-by-sides in this courtroom.
Yes.
When you described how you felt when you held her, I can imagine looking at a picture like that. I could only imagine as a mother what was going through your heart.
It was just so much going through my heart. I mean, it was like I could just feel the warmth of Justin inside of her, like he's hugging her too. And it was just really emotional. And she does so many things that are like, I mean, spitting image of Justin. And I can't help but to think that she looks like Justin and that she's my granddaughter. I mean, I just have that feeling.
Who does she think you are? Like, what does she call you? Do you say, I'm your grandma, or?
She thinks I'm her grandma.
She does.
Yeah.
And so, Miss Herrod, as you see Miss Walther testify so beautifully about your beautiful little girl, you see the pictures.
Yes.
You see the relationship they're starting to build.
Yes, Your Honor.
How does it make you feel that you know within your heart that there's still doubt?
It bugs me on a daily basis. I've got the fear that she isn't going to be his.
And so you submitted a calendar to the court, and I'd like to look at the dates. Star's birth date is on April 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
So she was born then, and the green outlines the months and the days that you say you were intimate with Justin fairly regularly while your boyfriend was at work.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you count back, the months of July and August and June are well within the time frame
Yes, Your Honor.
where Star was conceived, if her birth date is on April 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I need to ask you a difficult question, but I need to know this.
Yes.
Were you also intimate with your boyfriend at the time?
It was very seldom, but yes, we were.
Okay. And I need to know, it was not with protection, I presume.
No, it was not.
Okay. What are your hopes today?
My hopes are that Justin is the father. She could build a relationship with his family. We could all get along, build a relationship together, and move on with the rest of our life.
And Ms. Walther, what is your hope today?
My hope is to find out that she is my grandchild and I can build a life with her and talk to her.
What is that you're holding, ma'am?
It's a granddaughter's little book of love. And it has different pictures in it.
Oh, you filled it with pictures of Justin.
Yeah.
So she could have pictures of her dad.
Yes.
If in fact he is determined to be her biological
Right.
father.
In due time, when she's old enough to understand, my husband and I and Jessica are going to set her down and explain it to her. But right now, she's too young to understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've been through so much, both of you. And I truly believe that no matter what the outcome is, that you all will do right by this little girl.
Yes.
I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Jerome, let's have the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Justin Walther, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parents, Mr. and Mrs. Walther. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Star McKinney, and Mr. and Mrs. Walther. Here are the results. In the case of Herrod versus Walther, when it comes to 3-year-old Star McKinney, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Mr. and Mrs. Walther and Star McKinney is 0.05%. You are not related. I'm so very sorry. I know, Ms. Walther, this was a moment where you were hoping that there was a surviving piece of your son.
Yes.
I feel for you.
Thank you.
I think you've done nothing but show the love towards Star you had for your son, and that's a beautiful thing.